Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Jemma, and joining me this week, I have the dynamic duo of welcome back, Kirk,
Hey, it's great to be here.
and welcome back, Trev. How are you?
Hello, my friends and listeners as well. I'm happy to be here.
And we're happy to have you. And it's
Yeah,
1 week
missed you guys
post.
last week.
Yeah, we missed you too. It was a big episode. We talked all about our Switch 2 experience. Now we're 1 week on from the launch of the Switch 2. We're going to talk a lot more about the system, how we're finding it, some sales, super exciting sales information, new game that's been announced. But we want to start off with you, Trev, because you weren't here last week. We didn't get to hear your impressions. You weren't sold necessarily on getting the Switch to day one. Time to update us. Have you managed to get it 1 weekend?
I do have a Switch too. Your prediction was correct, Gemma. Not only did I get one, I got one way sooner than I anticipated because I was going to hold out till like the fall or
Yeah.
the
What
holiday
happened?
shopping season. Well,
He heard our
Kirk's.
podcast.
Yeah.
I did. I enjoyed it. I always listen when I'm not on, but I probably should listen when I'm on too. But
Yeah.
just to make that a burst consistent. But yeah, long story short, Kirk's um, third phase or third part of his plan was my first part of the plan.
Right. Okay.
Uh, Justin ended up selling me the copy that Kirk would have got had he not gotten a Switch 2 on his own.
Oh, nice.
So
That's awesome. So yeah,
yeah,
Justin still had a spare one, and now it's all yours. And has it made its way to you yet? Like, is
it
it?
did.
Yeah.
It came in. I probably had it about 24 hours, give or take an hour. Came in yesterday mid afternoon, and I couldn't get to it till early evening.
hmm
And then the Nintendo servers were down for a spell, so I couldn't even do my initial setup. But thankfully, it all worked out, and it's up and running. I did not do a system transfer
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because I have 8 years worth of review games, and they can't even fit on the card I have. And I kind of want to make the Switch to its own thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It's like a cathartic feeling, kind of starting fresh. So I logged in with my account, and I still have access to all my games, as virtual game cards.
hmm
And my friends list is there, my playtime is there, and most of the games I'd want to check out on Switch 2 to see enhancements. It's just a matter of like I popped in my Xenoblade cart, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to move the save over?" And it's like, "Yeah," and in a second it's right there, and I picked up where I left off. So at least for the moment, I have some space on the on the SD card. So
Oh, that's a good way to do it. Wow. So the system transfer is less important this time around.
I
Really?
think so. And Nintendo's a little cagey on their wording because even when I was setting it up, it's like I choose to not transfer, and they're like, only pick this if you don't have a Switch. And I'm like, no, I have a Switch, but it's not going anywhere. I mean, I'm keeping my Switch, and I'm still going
Mm.
to use it for plenty of. There's like party games on there, and different things where I'm not so concerned about visual fidelity or whatever. So yeah, that's my public service notice to anyone who's been fretting about transfer. I feel like there's been a lack of clarity, maybe
Mm.
because Nintendo is only promoting the transfer. They're not really telling you that you can't. But yeah, just sign in with your account, and you're not going to lose anything. You'll have access to everything without the headaches of trying to create space, on your SD card.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because I did notice when I went back to the Switch during the week and had a look that all my stuff is still there. So it is available on both. It's like, is this normal? I don't know what's happening.
And
Yeah.
like, there's certain games I'd have no interest in ever playing on Switch too. Like,
hmm
like there are a budget eShop game or a mobile conversion that doesn't is not going to take advantage of higher frame rates or higher resolution. And there's party games I have too that people are going to want to play on Switch because they can use their existing Joy Cons, or they can tap in with their cellular device, like if it's the Rift Tracks game or something like that. So I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, it's not going anywhere. I still got two Switch docks. So my
Nice.
plan is to keep my Switch 2 primarily docked, and the Switch will just be like my handheld.
Cool. Sounds good. You got any
Do
comments on that,
you?
Kirk?
Yeah. Do you really not delete any of the games you review? You keep them on the system forever?
I archive the games, but yeah, I haven't really deleted any per se. I delete like demos and stuff, but yeah, I've archived them. But you never know. Even if it's a game I don't like what if I review a sequel and then I want to go back and check out the original, or um, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well, I'm the same. I've not deleted anything. I didn't even really consider it. I thought archiving was kind of deleting. So
Kirk deletes almost everything he reviews,
you probably have a really
unless it gets
tidy
denied.
you probably have
Yeah,
a really tidy inbox as well, whereas my
I
emails are
I
out of
do.
control.
I think you guys are game hoarders.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
game
yeah.
systems look like my fabled basement.
Yes, yes. You'll never know
It's
what you're gonna
probably
find.
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's it.
oh, you know that what too? There's certain Switch games that aren't either Switch 2 compatible, like Ring Fit, or there's certain games that aren't perfectly optimized. So I just wanted to avoid that headache too. I'm like, you know what? I'll just leave them here. So, and again, most of the games I want to see on Switch 2, I own them physical. So
Mm.
it's just a matter of popping the cart into the slot. The slot feels a little different than the Switch 1 slot. It's got like a, you guys know what I mean? Or have you
Mm.
just played
Yeah,
digital?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
have also, yeah.
it's got
Mhm.
like a kind of a springy back to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it took me a minute to figure out how to put the card in. But
Well, it's got that little
um,
cover thing. Do you take that out completely or leave it on?
I feel like the original Switch, you just kind of flip the lid, but on this one, like you lift the lid, but the lid's
Yeah.
like attached to the.
Yeah.
I'm probably not describing it well, but
Well, it is kind of attached. It's like a flap almost. But yeah,
yeah.
it's
So maybe
interesting.
that's, I don't know. Maybe people were snapping the
Maybe.
card
Yeah.
cover. I don't know.
Maybe it's to push to digital, it's just it's too hard to open the flap. I'm just gonna download
Yeah,
it.
one extra complication. I
Yeah.
honestly believe I honestly believe that's why they were so keen on pushing the transfer. It's like we just want everyone to go all in with
Mm.
Switch 2, which I get, but again, obviously for you guys, like if you're giving your Switch to like your kids or something, then it makes sense to transfer. But,
Yeah.
you know, we don't
Yeah.
have kids, so it's like, no, I want the Switch 2 in the living room and I want the Switch in the bedroom or in the office and
That's cool. That's cool. I love that. Thank you, Trev. I mean, we're gonna, see over the next, well, I don't know, long while. I was gonna say a little while, how that works for you in terms of the Switch 2, because now that's going to become the main system at some point, right? You've obviously got a huge backlog of games in your Switch 1, but as more and more time passes, it'd be interesting to see if the Switch 2 becomes your primary console or not. Yeah.
yeah, and I am curious to check out certain games to see how much better they look on Switch 2. So we'll talk about
Mm.
that a little bit more when we get to games I'm playing, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Thank you, Trev. I'm so glad you could join the Switch 2 family.
you called it, Gemma. You predicted it.
That's
And
another one
yeah,
for her
another one,
list.
right? Oh my gosh. I need to is that 3? I don't know. I need to, like, make it a bit more, I need it to be a bigger thing that impacts me or us in a more positive way. Like, it's all good, it's all positive stuff, but I didn't really get anything out of it except the glory of saying I was right. So
I know what you can predict.
yeah, what's that?
Predict predict that Kirk sets up European and Japanese accounts on his Switch 2 so he can access some of these review codes from other regions.
Yes.
Are we
20
still getting? How long has it been since we've had one from a region outside the U.S.? I haven't seen one come in a while.
I usually take them because I'm the
We
one who
get some
has
UK ones
yeah,
Okay,
we get
or
some
PAL ones. I
Australian.
don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's just going to have to be a game that I really, really want. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I think I've only ever had to use the Japan, one once. There was some random game that we got a Japanese code for.
Yeah,
I
that's our
most yeah.
least
Yeah, I mostly use
I think
the
New
US
Zealand
one.
too. I think New Zealand's its own PAL territory for some reason. I think we've
Ah,
got one or two
I
from
don't I
them.
don't have a New Zealand account. I have an Australian, European, American, and Japanese. So there you go.
Maybe New Zealand is part of us. I don't know. I'm thinking back now
They
to
used to be, but I'm not
anyway.
sure. Anyway, Kirk, how are you going 1 week in to the Switch 2? Are you
I'm having a lot of fun. The games, and I'll talk about them again. The games I've been playing, I think, have been great.
Mhm.
Um, I have been on. I wouldn't say I've been on it almost nonstop. I will say Sam has been playing it quite a bit, but specifically Mario Kart. It's funny to me
Mhm.
because I'm bouncing around to a bunch of different games that I'm reviewing. Other ones I wanted to try out. Ones I wanted to see how the expansion packs look.
Mhm.
Sam has just been full on Mario Kart. So
Yeah.
I was kind of talking about how that's not a game that could really sustain me for a launch, but it sure is for other people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've been spending a lot of time in Mario Kart World as well. It's pretty fantastic, but we'll talk about that later, I guess, because Trev hopefully
Yeah.
has had an experience also. I did want to call out some features that I have tried during the week, specifically the camera and the chat, because last week we did mention them. I have a camera. I didn't get around to trying it last week. I had set up the chat, but I hadn't actually even tried it. Have either of you experienced the chat or the camera features as of yet?
No.
Trev?
I could barely afford the Switch to.
Well,
Justin's got me on a layaway program.
yeah.
Um, no, I have not tried it. I'm curious though because I hear that certain like you can use certain cameras. So like I have a PC camera. I'm wondering if it's compatible.
You should give it a try. Yeah, I have the official camera. The chat itself is part and parcel of the system, of course. So you can chat, with audio anytime. That's all good. You just need a friend to chat to. So we should try it ourselves. But I do have a friend, my good friend Pete, who I've mentioned several times on the show.
Hey, Pete.
Yeah, Pete and I got online and played some Mario Kart. He doesn't have the camera, but he and I chatted, and the chat is great. It's so clear. And I was sitting nowhere near the Switch to I was on the couch, the kids were with me. He could hear us clearly. He was talking about his this is so funny because it's so like the trailer that we saw with the dude in the blender. He was talking about his cat meowing and his washing, like his dishwasher going off, and then some other noise. I'm like, dude, I can't hear any of that. It's fine. So, but he couldn't hear me, I guess, because he had noise in his background. So that was his problem. But I had no problem hearing him at all, despite what was going on in his background. And then so we tested the camera. I said, look, can we check the camera out from my end? Because I want to try it. It's so clear. It's so cool. You can zoom in and out. You can really play with how it looks. I could make it so the background's kind of blurry and it's just like, my face kind of thing, or I can show the whole lounge room, but I can really zoom in and out to make it more of lounge room or less of the lounge room. So it's even though you're sitting far away, you can kind of pull yourself a bit closer to the screen, and it looked really clear. Considering the game sharing is not that clear. We've seen that on the trailer. The resolution's not high, but the camera resolution is really good. I don't know what it is. I don't know what resolution it is, but it's really really neat.
Is it
So
the first party one you have?
yeah, yeah, I got the Nintendo one. Yeah, the Switch
Yeah,
2 one.
I think it's 1080, right? Because that Piranha Plant one from Hori, I think that was only like
Yeah, that was
um,
less. Wasn't it 480 or something? Or
something like, yeah, 480. So
yeah.
because that's the one I was curious about because it looked cool,
It
but
does look cool. Yeah.
that's kind of low. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like the Wii U gamepad.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. So definitely can say if you're interested in the chat or the camera, they're very cool. They work really well. I was really impressed. And the game sharing works really well also. We did the Mario Kart thing. That was great. Then we started to share other things. Like he was playing the racing one. What is it? The RMX one, the sequel. He was playing that one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Fusion, Fast
Yeah,
Fusion.
yeah, yeah, which I realized I had reviewed the Switch game back in the day, RMX, Fast RMX, whatever it was, like years ago, um, for
Wow.
the humble Switch, and this is a sequel, but with a different title. So that looked really neat, even though, yeah, like
I
I
think
said,
it's even the third one. I think the first one
oh,
was
could
on Wii U.
be. Yeah, right, there you go. Yeah, and that's a good game to get. I haven't played it, but my friend Pete does recommend it, and I think it was a pretty good price as well. Looked really neat. I was sharing what was I showing? I showed Pio Pio Tetris because that's what I was reviewing. And we just went through our games, like our basement of games, Kirk. Because he was showing me all the games he has, and I'm like, yeah, that's a lot, but you can't beat this list. Because I have like how many years worth of games? 8 years worth of Switch games, I guess. It's from reviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like Trev, I don't delete them, so it's a long list.
I've got
Very
games
good.
that scored a 1 that are still on there because
Wow.
you never know. I
You
know it
never
doesn't make a lot
know.
of sense, but
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
never know when I'm going to need those serial cables again.
Yes. Everyone's gonna drop cables,
Kirk,
right?
you poke fun, but I wouldn't be surprised if you have like Flash Gordon on VHS and Betamax and Laserdisc, and DVD and Blu-ray and 4K.
Everything except Laserdisc, yes.
Oh, wow. You actually have Betamax?
No, not beta, just VHS. Yeah.
VHS, okay, yeah. That would be cool if you did have
Yeah,
the
but
other
that's
one.
different. I'm a collector of Flash Gordon, right? I got to hold on. I have no designs of ever watching the VHS again. Boy, especially after the 4K. Man, that movie looks so good.
Yeah, Brian
When are
Blessed.
we going to start Pure Flash Gordon? I'm ready to go.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I would love that for a spinoff.
I would love to
Of
join you
course,
in that.
Gemma would have to watch it.
I was gonna say I have to watch it first, so not just the memes or the, third-hand
Our
information I get from you guys.
Yeah, our occasional reference.
Yeah, exactly. So any Pro Controller updates versus Joy-Con functionality? Trev, especially, I guess, how are you finding? You probably may not have had a chance to try the mouse controls in your one day of Switch 2-ness, and maybe not a game that has mouse controls, but yeah. Have you got any? Did you get it? No, did you get a Pro Controller from Justin or not? Just the Switch 2?
Well, first of all, I want to find out about this friend Pete. If they're such a good friend, how come he's not writing for us?
I did ask him again on the weekend. I'm like, hey, you could just write for us if you want some more games. Like, come on.
Pete, we want you, Pete.
The offer's
We're
there.
easy to write for. We give you the code and it's hands off. You do your thing.
Yeah.
But to get back on topic, I don't have a Pro Controller. In fact, I don't even have a Pro Controller for Switch One.
Really?
Um, I would often just use the Joy Cons in like the grip,
Hmm.
or I had a controller from Power A. They do a lot of like I don't want to say cheaper because they're good quality, but more budget,
Hmm.
like Switch Pro controllers. And other than lacking rumble, it works great. It's really comfy, and it was a heck of a lot cheaper. So I've been riding that out for years, and I'll probably do the same with Switch 2, to be honest. I
Mm.
don't know if any listeners have ever, or even you guys have used anything from Power A, but they do um, a lot of options, even wired for Switch One, at least if you're really on a budget. Obviously, I prefer wireless, but
Yeah. I haven't myself, no. Hayden is loving the Joy Cons on the grip. Is that what you call it? The grip thing that makes it a controller? Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
I'm not
Yeah.
even sure what the technical, if there's a real name for it, but
I don't know.
like
But
the
hey,
caddy that you slide it in.
yeah, that works so well. And Hayden prefers that now. He's like, no,
Hmm.
I want to use the Joy Cons on the grip thing. So yeah.
I think it's comfortable.
Yeah, it is. It's really neat. And so, now we're fighting over the new Pro Controller, Harrison and I in particular, because it is really good. Have we lost Kirk? I'm just wondering.
No,
No,
I'm
you're
here.
still there. Okay, sorry. I just thought you haven't spoken for a while.
You're paranoid.
Yeah, I'm paranoid. Yeah, but we've got the two Pro Controllers from the Switch One as well that are still perfectly fine. So yeah, we're
Oh
flushed
wow, you have
with
two,
with
huh?
controllers, so we have no problems with controllers,
I
which
did have
is
a classic controller on the Wii. They didn't call it Pro Controller back then, but
oh, I
it
love
was the
that
same
thing,
ideas.
the white one. That was
You
nice.
plug it, yeah, you plugged it into the Wiimote, and that was cool.
Yeah,
So
I really liked that. It felt really good. It felt like a Super Nintendo controller, kind of, but with a uh, joystick kind of thing.
uh,
Do you know what I mean? Like the shape was a bit rounded on the edges, like the
oh yeah.
yeah, yeah. So any other? Sorry, I'm not sure if Kirk had any more controller points to add.
I did, because I asked you last week
Mhm.
about using the Joy-Con as a mouse and what you used for the mouse pad,
Oh,
what you were
yeah.
putting them down on. I finally got into in Bravely Default, and I'll talk more about the game later. But they added 2 mouse control games, mini games, nothing to do with the story, specifically
Mhm.
for mouse control. Um, and 2 thoughts on it. First, being that it's annoying as I thought it would be, in that I'm almost always playing with a pro controller. So if I want to
Mhm.
do this, I have to get up, go to my Switch, take the Joy-Con off.
Mhm.
They kind of automatically connect, and it knows that this is now my control system. So that's cool. Not a big deal, because the game doesn't force you to do it. It's just whatever I want to do the mini games, I can. But
Mhm.
for a guy who's almost always pro controller, it's not something that I'm really looking forward to. Having said that, boy, they really do work well, don't they? The mouse
Yeah.
controls, yeah. I just put them on the armrest of the recliner chair and was able to play both of these games, one better than the other because one's a rhythm game. Um, and yeah, you just by moving them around right there on the armrests, and it worked well. It doesn't require precision so much. You
Mhm.
have to you have to get them in the right spot at the right time, but it's not really finicky with that. So uh, yeah, Nintendo did a good job. This was the thing I was most skeptical of, and it really is a very well implemented feature, provided you're starting with the Joy-Con.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I haven't had that experience yet in terms of, when I started with Hogwarts Legacy last week, I was using the Joy-Cons by default. I don't know why, because I had the Pro controller, but I was using the Joy-Cons maybe because I knew about the mouse controls and I just thought I want to use these upfront. But when it's Mario Kart, you don't need the mouse controls anyway. But yeah, I'm using the Pro controller 90% of the time as well. So
Yep.
it's a good point. If it's switching back and forth, that could be a tad annoying. Mm.
Yeah. And another reason to use the Pro controller, for me at least, is like I mentioned, those grip buttons that you can assign in the
Mm.
game. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think there's an equivalent with the Joy-Con. So if I get used to working with those,
True,
then
true.
I don't want to, use the Joy-Con just so I get easier mouse functionality when necessary, because I'm going to use those grip buttons a lot more often.
Yeah, did you end up using those? I forgot to do that actually. Did you try it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. How was
Yeah,
it?
oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, I mentioned last week in Kunitsugami, the dodge move, you have to push down the L stick,
Yeah, that's
um,
right.
which I hate. So yeah, I assigned both grip buttons, left and right, to be the dodge, and that made the combat so much easier, so much more responsive to get out of tricky situations.
Oh, that's cool. That's really neat. Yeah. Trev, I'm guessing you haven't got around to something like that yet, have you?
No, not yet. I only
Oh, you haven't got a
have
Pro controller actually, so but in terms
yeah.
of
Well,
mouse
I
controls?
haven't used mouse either because
Mm, mhm,
um, other than Mario Kart, which was the pack-in, I only have a review game I took, so
mhm. Nice.
haven't
Gemma,
really
give
had a
us your
chance to use them
prediction
yet.
Which for? What am I
for
predicting?
when Trevor is going to use mouse for the first time.
Oh gosh. Well, I don't think his review game probably uses it, does it? If I'm correct. Is it Sonic? Is it
No,
Sonic?
well, yeah.
I'm guessing
Spoiler.
yeah, sorry, spoiler alert. Maybe July. I reckon Mario Party time when Mario Party comes
Mm,
out and
Uh,
Trev will get the update
that's
and
a good point.
yeah, it'll have
See,
the mouse.
even
mm.
then, like I just would have randomly tossed a week out there, but you thought about it and came up with the right answer.
Oh, thanks. We'll see. Hopefully. Yes. So July. I'm thinking July, late July or early August. We'll see. We'll revisit that at the time. The last item on this list is screen capture process, which I'm not sure who wrote that and what that
I
means.
just added that. I wanted to see if you guys have used the new system for sharing your screen captures.
Do you mean like taking a photo or a video with the system?
Yes.
I have taken photos and videos. I haven't shared it though. How is it harder than usual?
No, it's
Oh,
wonderful, because
oh,
in the past, you could share them on social media, but
yeah.
speaking specifically as a reviewer, the process of getting it from the TV to my computer, like you had to go in and capture a QR code with your
Yeah.
phone, and
Yeah, it
then
was
it loaded
annoying.
it in, and then
Yeah.
yeah. now, if when you could share it directly with your My Nintendo account. I mean,
Oh.
with the app that's on the phone,
Oh,
it
that's
pushes it
good.
right there. So then you just go to your phone, and the photo is in there. Yeah, it's like a little album, and you can just save it directly onto your phone's camera roll, and then share it that way. There's no photo taking, there are no QR codes. It's just immediately right there in your account on that app.
Oh, that is so much better. I wish I'd tried it because I've taken a few screenshots in Mario Kart because it has the picture mode. And I'm like, oh, I should put these on social, but I was thinking, oh, it's such a pain with the QR code thing. I didn't even try. Um, Now I know it's way easier. So, yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I'm
you.
more likely to actually use my own screen captures now instead of the press materials, because I
Yeah,
I can just do it.
yeah. Oh, that's so much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had any
It,
experience with that, Trev, yet?
no, I'm not sharing. I've captured a few, but
Hmm.
I'm excited to because it reminds me sort of like of using Miiverse. I used to just dump photos I wanted on Miiverse, and then I
Yeah.
could grab them
Hmm.
from there. And now I can do it from the app. And I mean, to be perfectly frank, not to criticize developers or PR people, but a lot of the screenshots we get are not good. They're
Mm,
not
that's
good at
true.
highlighting the game or showing the various modes of the game. Some of
Or
them don't
they
reflect
don't have
gameplay.
the HUD. They don't show the, yeah, it doesn't even look like what you would see in the game. It's just a capture
Yeah.
without any of the screen elements. It drives me nuts.
Hmm. Yeah, same.
Yeah, so I feel like sometimes I put just as much effort finding quality screens as I do actually writing the review. And a lot of times I'll actually go into like have to go into a trailer and capture from that,
Yeah.
which is tedious. So
Oh, it
I'm
is.
excited to do it. It's from the Switch Online app or the Nintendo Today or what is it?
I think it's the Nintendo Today. You guys keep talking. I'll look it up and make
Oh,
sure.
cool. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that
That's
give me an
really
excuse to check in with that more often too, because I sort of after the first week I kind of forget about it. So
Yeah, Nintendo Switch app.
Nintendo Switch app. Okay. Is that like the new that's not
Yeah,
the
that's the new one.
that's the
Yeah.
new one. Yeah, okay. For like the Zelda mapping and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Cool. That's really good to know. Thank you so much, Kirk. I wonder if listeners had figured that out before I had. So if I had just tried
oh
it, I would have found out. But it was just like, no, it's too tedious. I'm just not going to bother.
I want to add one more benefit of not transferring because
Hmm.
I don't have like 700, 800 photos from Switch One that I had to transfer to Switch Two.
Yeah, it did take a while to do that. I did transfer my photos, but yeah, that's on my micro SD card, I guess. So I just had to swap it. No, what did I do? Yeah, I swapped the old one from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. It copied them off, and then I switched it back, and it copied it onto the new one. I don't know how it did that actually, but I had yeah, it did it somehow. It didn't take too long, but yeah, it was a good 20 minutes or something like that. Hmm.
Do you guys have like a Hall of Fame of screen captures that you would never delete just because you love them too much or they're too funny?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we
I
definitely.
do have
do.
that. Especially quotes taken out of context. We should do a whole
Yes.
article about random quotes that make absolutely no sense
Oh, yeah, I
when you
love
just
that.
look at them on their own.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
hilarious, yeah, and we have a
I got
lot
a
of
lot of quotes.
yeah,
Ugh.
we have a lot of Lego City Undercover screenshots that my kids did back in the
Yeah.
day because 'cause they'd, like, pile up all the cars or something. So yeah,
It's
there's some good
amazing
ones.
how many glitches I captured just to
Oh,
share
Oh,
yeah.
with like
yeah.
devs. I'd be like, I'm
Mhm.
running into a glitch, and they're like, "Can you show me?" And I'm like, "Here you go. Here's a 30-second video." Or
Yeah, I still need to know the trick with the video because I press it and it's not like it takes 30 seconds from when you press it. It sometimes goes back 10 or 15 seconds and takes 15 more seconds from when you pressed it, but it's not consistent.
yeah,
And then sometimes it'll just do a 6-second video and I'm like, "No, I want 30 seconds. Why can I not do that?" I haven't
I
worked
don't
that
know.
out yet.
You
Yeah.
can go in and edit it. Like I've shortened them up sometimes, but
Yeah. Like I tried to
I
do
don't
I
know.
did a well, I think it was a mission or something with Cow in Mario Kart, but it captured like 20 seconds before the mission started, even though I pressed it, at the right time. It's like you can't control when it starts, which is a bit annoying, I always find.
Hmm.
But that's just me. Anyway. Cool. That's some really good info. So thank you. Listeners, if you have any other tips or updates on the Switch 2, let us know. The other Switch 2 news is, well, related to, excuse me, related to the launch, is that Nintendo released some figures in terms of its sales, and they were pretty impressive. 3.5 million units worldwide in the first 4 days, which now Trev might need to help me understand this, because they said it was the fastest selling Nintendo console to date, but I thought it was also the fastest selling console. Do you know how that works? Or is it just in Japan that it was the fastest selling of any system?
It was
Um,
just in Japan.
Just in Japan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there were other regions though that also, like maybe in France, it was the fastest selling
Mm,
too.
mm.
Um, I don't know region by region, but I do appreciate that they actually gave numbers because
Yeah.
my initial thinking, like the skeptic in me, is I'm like, watch, they'll put out a press release that says the highest grossing, but of course it's selling at $500 a pop, so it's going to
Mhm.
gross more than a system selling for $200. But they
Mm.
actually gave numbers, so
Yeah.
it shows the goodwill they've established through 8+ years, of the Switch, and hip hip hooray.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really impressive. And I think it sort of leads to the thought, well, and I think we've talked about this before, maybe even I think it was something you mentioned, Kirk, a couple of months ago, that the stockpiling was happening, that they obviously made sure there was a lot of stock ready for the launch. So that we wouldn't have, even though it did sell out in a lot of places, it's being refilled really quickly, and they were able to get 3.5 million out the door within the first
Mhm.
4 days. You know, if they didn't have 3.5 million ready to go, then they couldn't have made those numbers, right? So, yeah, if they pushed it back, I guess, and delayed it until they had the stock, that helps with that number a little bit, doesn't it? In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was wondering about that too because the pre-orders online sold out so fast, and
Mm.
then but most stores were able to still get physical copies that had not been pre-ordered for sale that day. That's how I got mine from GameStop. They just put them up for
Mm.
sale a day early.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they just made stores cut sales off early, or if they were even able to get some more units out and delivered in that month between the when the pre-orders happened and when the product actually dropped.
Yeah. I don't know either. Interesting. It's been a different style to the previous launches, I guess, that have been so hard to get the console on day one or even month one, I think, thinking to the Switch and
Mm.
even I guess the Wii especially. So we've got some other numbers to compare it with here. So is this 947,931? That's very specific. Is that the Switch 2's launch numbers in Japan? Is that what that number is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the number that blew away the previous record for the fastest selling system in
Mhm.
Japan, which was the PS2. It only had 630,552. Although I
Wow.
expect before too long Sony's going to say, "Oh no, we just found out we actually sold more.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had another 400,000 that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
forgot to mention." So
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That's so
Uh,
specific, isn't it? 931. And it's so close to 1,000,000. It'd be like, oh, just if we had have sold like 53, well, not even 53,000 more.
why did they
Still,
just wait one more day to
yeah,
announce?
yeah, it's 2 5 days. Yeah, what's with the 4 days? I guess because it was Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend, right? Because it released on a Thursday.
yeah, I think that's it.
Mm, yeah, still very impressive. So that's awesome news. We did, we knew it's a Japanese company. Nintendo is from Japan. They have a long history of being very popular and successful in Japan, so it's not a huge surprise, but it is an impressive one. So, yeah, very cool.
I will
Uh,
just say,
yeah.
just so listeners don't think that we're, you know, Nintendo fanboys that are going to celebrate everything. Obviously, this number is cause for celebration,
Hmm.
but each console generation, the potential for a gaming audience expands, right? So,
Yeah, yeah,
when we
definitely.
were all
Yeah.
kids, gaming was in its infancy, and that's no longer the case. So, I'll be really curious to see the weeks ahead leading up
Mm.
to that holiday season, how things pan out, and if they can keep ticking away and build the momentum with upcoming first party and third party releases.
Absolutely. Yeah, it will be very interesting. And, being June, such a different time for Nintendo to release a console, how that's going to affect things. But yeah, coming into holiday season, what's going to happen this year, December, in terms of sales. And yeah, keeping that momentum going. Like 3.5 is very impressive as a initial launch, but we don't want to see it. Well, Nintendo doesn't want to see it drop off, and we hope they have enough resources behind them in terms of games to keep the momentum going, keep us happy as players. So yeah, good point, Trev. Thank you.
Yeah, I need more friends to buy it so I can actually justify the um,
Yeah.
doing like the chat and the camera, and because
Mm,
right now a lot of my friends are sticking with the Switch One. Obviously, not you guys, not those of us in the industry, but
mhm.
some of the
Yeah.
more quote unquote casual players.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So that might be when they like your initial plan to come, what was it? Black Friday sales or something. Or come
Yeah,
holiday season. Yeah. So they might come around then. This time next year you'll be chatting to everybody on your Switch too. So that's my next
I'll
prediction.
be like, guys, I'll give you some press codes if you write for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Not you're not shady at all. You're not just maybe I've been playing too much Yakuza, but I'm thinking of you in an alley, like handing out codes.
With his
I'll open up
trench
my
coat. He's
jacket.
got codes on the inside of his trench
Yeah,
coat.
yeah.
Yeah, or my jumper, right?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Yes.
Hey, Pete, let me hook you up here.
Yeah, hook you up, exactly. Well, we need to get to the gaming, so let's talk about one more announcement that happened during the week, and this won't be a long one because I don't think we're huge Splatoon players essentially, but it was a pretty big piece of news, and it came randomly on last Tuesday. They dropped a trailer for a bunch of stuff for Splatoon 3, including an update that's already out now. It came out on the 12th, version 10, and this relates to some new levels. Well, sorry, it's actually an old level that's been brought back. I think it's from the original Splatoon game itself, being brought into Splatoon 3. There's new weapons. But the bigger news, I suppose, for that update is that it's for Switch 2 as well. It means you can play Splatoon 3 on your Switch 2. It has crossplay between the Switch systems, which makes total sense, and something that Puyo Puyo doesn't have, sadly, in my review game that I did last week. So because there's obviously a huge audience of players already on the Switch, and if you're on the Switch 2, well, you need someone to play with. So it makes, yeah, absolute sense. And of course, the visuals have been improved as well for Switch 2. I haven't had a chance to try this yet. I do have Splatoon 3. I don't remember. I don't think, Trev, you have Splatoon 3, do you?
I do not.
No.
Don't tell Caitlin because she'll throw a fit.
Yeah.
I do have the original
Mhm.
on Wii U and the sequel, but I'm just not really. I'm not the biggest Splatoon fan, and
Mm.
I'm more interested, to be honest, in the spinoff than I am, obviously, with
Yeah.
the update for 3.
Well, that was the other big announcement, was that they are making, I guess, the first spin-off game for for a Splatoon series, which is called Splatoon Raiders. And there was no release date for this, but it looks really neat. It's, I guess it's a bunch of, I don't know the names of the people. Sorry, listeners will be like, it's this person. But again, I'm not the hugest Splatoon fan either. I do have Splatoon 3. It's the only one I own. I have played it. It is really fun. I do enjoy it.
You have the amiibo too.
I do, yes. Perhaps not all of
Oh,
them, but I do have quite a few. I have like, there's so many Splatoon amiibo. I think I've got like,
isn't it like Callie and Marie or something, or
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I've got at least 6 Splatoon
Squid Boy,
amiibo.
Squid Girl? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But it looks really neat. It looks like a really nice spin-off. I think people are really excited about it. I can't wait to hear more about it as details are revealed closer to release date, I guess.
Yeah, it
Um,
really was a tease. Like
yeah,
I'm
it
like,
was a
what?
tease. Yeah,
I'm glad they're doing a spin-off though with Splatoon and not just because it'd be so easy to slap Mario in a spin-off or Kirby or I'm glad they're
mm,
using one of their less saturated IPs to go in a
yeah.
new direction.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. It's good for these characters because they're established now. They've been around. When was Splatoon 1? Ages ago, right?
2015, like 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe it's to do with the 10th anniversary. I don't know. And is that why they've called it version
Oh,
10 as well? I don't know. Seems
well,
likely.
maybe.
Yeah. But anyway, it's all good news for Splatoon fans. So let us know if you're excited about that. we won't linger on that too much. But the other quick news I wanted to just, we talked about sales for the Nintendo Switch 2. I did notice that Fantasy Life I had announced that they've sold over 1 million copies of that game since launch, which I think it only launched late May. So that's pretty impressive. I guess that's across all platforms. I myself have not got around to purchasing it yet. I would like to, but yeah, it's on my wish list. I wish listed it, Kirk. So yeah.
All right, great. My lessons are paying off.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't do that before. If you have not listened to Kirk's advice, wish list things, because as soon as they become available on sale, Nintendo will tell you. So yeah, you have to do that. Absolutely.
Unless you have like 100 wish listed, and then they'll only tell you a few.
Is that
So,
true?
well, I don't know. Like in emails, it'll be like, one of the games you wish list is on sale.
Yeah,
And then
true.
it'll direct you to your list, and my list is, well, I don't like to delete things I wish list either. So
Yeah, I haven't got that many wish listed. How many do you have, Kirk?
Oh, I wonder if Trev still has games wish listed on the Game Boy Advance. He hasn't pulled them off. They got to keep the store open just to maintain his wish list.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I
I
have
do
about
have
5
Fantasy Life.
oh,
Hmm? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I
well,
apologize.
no, that's right. Trev was saying he had Fantasy Life wish listed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Kirk, were you going to say something just then?
You asked how many I had wish listed, and I think it's around like 10.
Okay.
I have one pinball table for Pinball FX, a bunch of those like arcade archive games,
Mhm.
and maybe 3 or 4 beyond that.
Cool. That seems like a good number. I think I have
Yeah.
maybe 5 or so. So yeah. Yeah.
And boy, those
Wow,
arcade
that's-
archive games never ever go on sale.
But the day it does, you'll be told and you'll know about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
I can't believe you guys have so few.
That would be too many if I had that many. Yeah.
I will be honest though, like I have games I wish listed 8 years ago, and if I haven't bought them by this point, I'm probably not gonna. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's that's valid.
I am
Cool.
curious with Fantasy Life. They didn't do a breakdown of how many sold on Switch versus like
I didn't
PS5 or
see
Steam.
that, but yeah, I could be wrong. I mean,
I
I
will
sort of
say, if
mm,
they want to add to the sales, they need to give us a physical release, at least here in the States. We don't have
mm.
one on Switch.
No,
There's
you're
one for
right.
other
Yeah.
systems, and in Japan and whatever, they have physical releases, but we need one here. $60 is a lot to spend for a digital game for me.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago when the game launched. I thought it was physical here, and it's not. It's just Japan. I think it was meant to be, and then I don't know, they didn't do it for some reason. So I agree. I probably would have bought the physical by now, but yeah.
I might have even bought a game card version. Ugh, I feel dirty saying it, but
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe they'll bring her. Yeah, I don't know if they'll do a physical now, but never know. Sometimes these games do come out later physically, especially if it's done well in Japan physically. They might. I don't know, but it's already done 1 million copies. Will they? Who knows? Who knows? Honestly, we'll see. But yes, it is wish listed, so I will wait for a sale because it's quite expensive. But let's talk about the games that we are playing, not the games we wish we were playing. And it's a nice, healthy list this week. A lot of Switch 2 goodness on here. I'll kick off with Yakuza 0. I briefly touched on that earlier. Director's Cut, which is a game from Sega. And I've been playing this for review during the week. I've not ever played a Yakuza game before. So this is very new for me. And I don't think there's been many on Nintendo systems at all. In fact, I thought there was one on the Switch recently. Yeah, Yakuza Kiwami came out on the Switch. Was that last year? I think.
I don't know.
Yeah. But this is like a prequel of sorts. It's not the first game. I think it's like, I don't know, the 10th or something. But it came out in 2015, so it's the 10th anniversary this year. And this is the director's cut, which I believe is coming to other consoles at some point. But I think this is a timed exclusive for the Switch in this director's cut version. So it's set in the 1980s in Japan. You're a Yakuza, you're a young Yakuza person. And I think he's a protagonist in the series, and this is his story. From what I've read and what I understand, having not played the series before. So yeah, it's very. There's a lot of cutscenes. It's like a movie, honestly, and you're watching, I guess, a story unfold. I'm quite early into it at the moment. I don't want to get into spoilers, even though it's a 10-year-old game, but it looks like there's a little bit of an issue. We're being set up for something that we didn't do. There's lots of fights to be had. I believe there's lots of side quests as well along the way. But it's more or less you're stalking the streets of Tokyo, or sorry, it might not actually be Tokyo, but Tokyo is mentioned. You're stalking the streets of Japan. It's very neon. It's very, very well lit. It's very active. There's lots of people, lots of NPCs to bump into. You kind of shove them out of the way, and I'm like, "Hey, Yakuza, coming through!" um, yeah, there's this whole story with I guess someone in the family who's a bit dodgy, and you have to deal with the ramifications of that. So far, so good. It's the cutscenes. I believe they've added a whole lot of new ones, and I think I know where they are without googling, because there's kind of the what it looks like the original style, I guess, enhanced. And we're talking about a 10-year-old game here, but it looks really nice anyway, and it's obviously optimized for Switch 2. But then there's some other cutscenes which have a different look to them. And I feel like I like that they've done it that way, because it doesn't look like they've just spliced two types of cutscenes that are meant to look the same but don't, because one's 10 years old and one's new. They've done it in a different style, and so it looks like it's meant to be different, and so you can tell it's newer and better, but it's not as jarring, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's some really good cutscenes. There's some really good voice acting. I feel like the prologue is very story driven. Like I said, I feel like I'm watching a movie at this point. So, but yeah, it's cool. It's cool. There was a mini game where I had to sing karaoke, and I mean, I didn't actually have to sing. I just had to bash a bunch of buttons. But the 80s style Japan rock music was quite cool. So that was a fun
Nice.
little fun interlude. Yeah. But yeah, that's the game I'm playing at the moment. My review for Pio Pio Tetris S2 2S, sorry, is already up on the site, so check that out. This one will take a little bit of time, I think, because it's quite a deep game. But yeah, enjoying it so far. My foray into the underworld of Japan.
When you play a game like this, do you play it with the Japanese dialogue and subtitles, or do you go with the translation, the
I
English act?
normally so this does have voiceovers in several languages, which is really neat. I would normally do Japanese audio with English subtitles, would be my default. I haven't done that because I probably shouldn't be playing this in front of the kids, because it is quite violent. But they were watching me when I set it up, and they're like, "No, do English." And I'm like, "But that's not cool." But so now I'm stuck with English. So you can change it, but I think you have to restart it or something. It said I had to restart. I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to restart it. I've already spent a couple of hours watching Yakuza people talk." So
You may just have to go back to the title screen to switch it. You can't do it
maybe.
mid-game.
Yeah, okay.
Usually that's what I see.
Okay, I will try that. I will try that. But the voice acting in English is very good, and it doesn't look out of sync in terms of, I don't know, they've done a good job, I think. Um, yeah, and the music is really cool too, actually. Like I did mention karaoke, but generally the music is quite good overall, just in the sort of background, I've noticed. Yeah, so audio is pretty terrific. Yeah. Any other questions for me? No?
I don't think so. Oh, except that it's talking about the combat. I know combat's big in these games, and they say it's easy
Mm.
to pick up, but it has a high skill ceiling. How close are you to your skill
Oh my
ceiling?
gosh. Well, that's a really good point. So, yes, I found it really easy at first. I was like, "Oh, I'm really good at this." I did put it on easy mode, mind you. There are 3 difficulty settings, and you can also, speaking of playing it in front of the kids, you can tone down the violence. Like, there's 2 settings, I think, for gore. You can make it less gory, so I have made it less gory.
That's
But
good.
yeah, that is good. But where I just got up to last night, I did get killed quite easily. So I think I have hit that ceiling. Yeah, your dude is like a really good fighter. He's got some purple energy. I can't remember the term for it, but he's really fast. There's even some random, I think his name is Old Foreigner or something. who's trying to recruit you to street fighting. So I'm like, oh, is that going to be a thing I have to do later? But he's given me a few tips, and now I'm facing off against all these Yakuza people who don't like me, and they ganged up on me. There's like 10 of them. I beat the first room, I beat the second room, and then there's a dude throwing couches at you. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know how to deal with this. So I have to try it again. I did die. You have to go back to the start of the fight. There's no one thing is missing, I think, for a 10-year-old game that's been re-released is the ability to just save at any point. That doesn't seem to be a thing, which I really wish that was, because I would like to have saved it after I beat the first room of people, so I don't have to do that again. Um, yeah. So, but still, yes, I have hit that ceiling. Thank you, Kirk.
It's one of the reasons I didn't immediately claim the game. Like, I better wait and see if anyone who's better at this kind of combat picks it up.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not. But it's good. It's good to try new things, and I think this is one of the reasons why the Switch 2 is good for me, because I wouldn't normally be exposed to these types of games. So that's kind of why I took it as well, because I'm like, well, I've heard good things. It's not something I could ever play on the Switch 1. Let's give it a go and try to be objective about it as I review. So,
Did you say the guy's name was Foreigner?
yeah, like not the main character, but he met someone, and
No.
I'm sure it's his name is like old foreigner guy or something. So
No. I hope you can do some Foreigner karaoke, because that'd be pretty cool.
yeah, yes.
I want to know what love is.
That's the Foreigner song you went to? I guess that makes sense now. I'm not.
I don't know. That's the first one that popped in my head.
I didn't even know that was foreigner. So there you go.
Uh,
I couldn't tell you a foreigner song. I know of foreigner, but yeah, hey, there you go. But let's move on to some other games, because there's a few good ones on the list. And Kirk, you're next. What's happening with you on the Switch 2?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about both the games that I briefly talked about last week because I had only had a day to play them and didn't get very far. The first
Mm.
game is Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. This is the one that I said may be my launch day favorite, and
Mm.
I think it is. If we had launch window, we don't know. We'll see. But yeah, speaking of combat, it's an action game blended with like tower defense. And I won't go into too much detail again because I kind of described it last time. But the game starts out at you're at the top of a mountain. These demons are
Another
they
demon game,
attack.
Kirk.
It's always demons.
Listen, I can't help that there are so many demons on these Japanese mountains.
Yeah.
Need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Mount Kafuku specifically. They attack a shrine maiden named Yoshiro. It's your job to protect her. You're a warrior named So. You kind of fail in the first one, and so you got to make your way down the mountain. But the mountain, the demons have kind of taken it over, so you need to purify it. And this is done by So's dancing. She doesn't fight; she just dances, and you have to clear out the room for her to be able to do her dance. Um, the dancing it's kind of like the way the combat takes place in the game. It's sort of dance like the way the guy moves. I mean, it's very stylized. It's really cool. The combat's not too difficult, just a few different combos, but you do get extra abilities as you go along. You need to learn how to time those combos. You need to learn when to use them. Like there's you also you're able to purify villagers in the daytime mode where you're kind of cleaning things out, and then the nighttime is when the demons come out of their portal and attack. But the villagers that you purify, you're able to give them roles. One of them is an archer, and I bring that up because if you don't have any archers, I was thinking, how am I going to get these demons that are floating above me? But YX, you could kind of do a jump up attack, so you need to know the combos to when to do it. But yeah, so a lot of it is you're placing these people that you're able to purify. You're assigning jobs to them, so they fight. And then, but a lot of it is also you fighting. You're going to have to do most of the work yourself. They do a pretty good job, actually, but you're going to be running around healing people. You're going to be fighting. Yeah, the demons can sneak out in certain ways, and you need to go back to protect your Shiro. It's just a really unique game. It's got a lot of different modes. After you clear out one of the areas that need to be purified, then you also have to go to a boss battle before you can go on. I don't like the boss battles as much. You're mainly up against one big boss and probably some minions. There's less tactics though. That section is more just straight combat, and I didn't find those as fun. Like when I would get those done, I would eagerly go on to the next area. But once I cleared an area out, I would not eagerly fight the boss for that. I'd move on to a different game and kind of energize myself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But still a really good game. It looks really great. It does get redundant after a while. Although you're constantly adding new types of warriors, you're getting new materials, different structures you can build to help out. The game keeps evolving, but the combat is still You're doing basically the exact same thing all the way down the mountain, and it's a very, very long mountain. Um, but like we said, like you just said with Yakuza, it's the kind of game where it's not something I played on the Switch before. These aren't the kind of games we generally got, and I'm looking forward to more of these style games working their way over to us.
Yeah, exactly. That's brilliant. And how's Bravely Default going?
I think I'm enjoying it more than I did on the 3DS.
Nice.
I missed the 3D. I don't know if I mentioned last week, there are some scenes where it was built specifically to take advantage of the 3D, and it's not. And I look at it and it makes me a little bit sad. Because the 3DS was such cool technology. I just thought it looked so great
It
when done
was. Yeah.
properly. But they've done a really good job of sprucing such an old game up. I mean, it's not high end of what you're going to want to play on the Switch 2, but it looks good. And the 3DS also took a serious advantage of the Street Pass. You could get different people. One of the elements in the game, one of the first things that happened is this village is destroyed, and you're kind of rebuilding it throughout the whole game. And you do it just by getting people and assigning them to tasks. And once you are able to clear out an area, then you start getting bonuses for that. You get access to new weapons. People will occasionally give you health potions and stuff like that. So it's something you got to do, but without the 3DS and Street Pass, you couldn't get it because you couldn't get people. Now those characters, they just kind of dump people in the game itself. So when you're in a town, you will see like these little glowing, flowery butterfly things, and you walk up to it and they say, "Hey, you got a new person in your village." So you're able to build it up that way. That they didn't just get rid of that functionality; they just found a new way to do it. So they did a very good job. I don't know if the game's easier this time. It seems easier. Uh, like I said, maybe I've just gotten better at this kind of game over time, or I've already played it, so I have a pretty good idea of what to do with the characters, what jobs to give them, what weapons to give them, what skills to give them. It's very much one of those games where you can tinker. In fact, you're encouraged to, and sometimes even forced to try out a lot of different things to take on the different enemies. So it stays really fresh throughout and a lot of fun. Glad I bought it.
Nice. Do you think, has there ever been talk of a Bravely third?
Well, they did. They had a Bravely. It's a confusing system because they had Bravely Default for 3DS, and then they released a game called Bravely Second for 3DS, which didn't really involve the same characters, but was kind of the same thing. And then they released Bravely Default 2
Oh,
for the
yeah.
Switch. So there's a break in how it actually flows. I do hope though that they release Bravely Second for the Switch too. I can't imagine they won't. It's the same system. They've already done it with one, so why not do the other? So I expect within a year or so we'll be getting it.
Cool.
The thing that still confuses me to no end is why they didn't make a version of this for the standard Switch. The only thing here that in any way, shape, or form would require the Switch to are the two new mini games that take advantage of the mouse controls.
Which they could just strip out, right? It's not
Yeah.
like part of the main
Yeah,
game.
you can get some things from them, but even then, it's mostly just stuff you can get elsewhere, or they're like some costumes that you could download that you don't need. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that is strange, honestly.
and the mini games themselves, real quickly, one's a rhythm game that I quite like. a bunch of different maneuvers you have to do with a mouse in order to your character dances, things fly at the screen, you got to catch them or touch them in a certain way, and that's kind of fun. The second one is a lot more complex. You're piloting this airship, and you're using the left control for altitude, your right mouse for direction, but there are also other things that happen throughout, like things will break and you need to grab a wrench and you need to put it on top of it, or hit certain buttons in a certain order. So it's very much a right brain, left brain. What are you going to do? Maybe I'll get into the flow of it. I found it pretty complicated at first, and think I'll probably just bring one of my kids over and say, all right, you take this left control, I'm taking the right one, and we're going to ace this.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I mean, it sounds fun, honestly, but yeah, not needed for, yeah, why is there no Switch version? Seems a bit mean for the Switch owners, but yeah. That's okay. Cool. Thanks, Kirk.
Yep.
Trev, how are we enjoying Mario Kart World?
I'm enjoying it. It's obviously the first game I downloaded because it was back then.
Yeah.
And another reason I'm glad I didn't transfer is about halfway through there was a hiccup and I had to restart downloading it. So I can only imagine if I was transferring my whole Switch, I'd probably still be doing it as we were recording. Yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying the courses. I think you said on last week's show that even the remade courses are so different. You almost don't recognize them, and I tend to agree.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'm not entirely sold on is the free roaming. The open world does feel a little sparse, and some of the P block challenges are not as interesting as I would have hoped. But I do need to give it more time to have an informed opinion. It took me a minute to even figure out how to do it. I was thinking on the main menu,
I know.
it might say like free roam, and I'm like, how do I get out of Grand Prix? And then I went to the map, and I'm like, oh, you just click on the map, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and now I'm starting to get costumes and doing certain challenges, but I I almost wish Nintendo didn't lead off advertising that because I feel like they set my expectations a little too high. But by the same token, they kind of had to because there's a lot less courses overall. I think you said it's hard to go from having 90 some odd to now having a third of that, but
Yeah.
they're very high quality. They look great even in handheld mode because I haven't had a chance to hook up the dock yet, so I've only been playing in handheld mode and been having a lot of fun. Of course, I'm starting on 50. Oh, I know what I want to ask you guys. I always play Mario Karts. I do the 50s, then I do the hundreds. But I thought I read somewhere that if you like beat it on 100 or 150, that it will actually give you like a medal saying you beat it on 50. Do you know if that's true?
Well, I've noticed when you go to the menu, like say Grand Prix, right? And you're looking at the map and
Yeah.
you've got all the Grand Prix cups at the bottom of the screen. If you finished it, and I've only done 50 and 100 so far,
Oh, okay.
it has a gold cup down the bottom, and it doesn't seem specific to the CCs. So I feel like you only have to get gold
Huh.
in one of them, but I'm not
If
sure.
that's the case, I may, because 50 does seem a little, especially in the knockout mode. 50 is really, it's a little too. Not only is it slow, but the competition, you lose them within the first leg of the race. So
Yeah.
I feel like if that's the case, I'll bump the knockout mode to 150 and get some tension. But um,
Yeah.
I have to find out more about that.
Yeah, because I like having the list of cups to go through and stars to collect, to get your 3-star gold cup, right?
Mm,
In every
yeah,
CC of every cup, mushroom cup, flower cup, etc. I do like having to do that. I feel like that's not in this version. You just have to get a gold cup in each cup once. I'm
yeah,
saying cup a lot.
maybe.
You know what I mean, though. Yeah, that's my experience to date.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know.
still fun though, and I mean, I
Yeah.
haven't even played a multiplayer yet, which is obviously
Mm,
where the real meat and potatoes are. So the fact that I'm enjoying it
yeah.
solo gives me
Have
a
you
lot of
tried
optimism.
Yeah, so you have tried Knockout Tour?
I did.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
did.
that's maybe the new favorite, as in like they were kind of like you said, free roam was like the thing they were talking about being the new aspect. Knockout 2 is obviously another
Yeah.
new aspect, but I feel like people are really taking to that
Yeah, I
mode.
definitely got to do knockout at a higher speed though,
Mm,
because 50 is just too easy and too slow for that matter. For
yeah.
because it's like one long race. There's no real gaps between. So
Well, what's
um,
Kirk? What's Sam doing with his Mario Kart time? Is he doing just everything? Or
He mostly has just been doing the races.
Mhm,
But today he spent a long time in free roam because he wanted to unlock as many things as he possibly could. So
mhm.
he was just going directly to where the characters were with the different things to unlock and was hopping in and doing it that way.
Yeah, I do like there are lots of characters to unlock and lots of vehicles
Yeah.
to unlock. That's really neat. Lots to do.
Speaking of that,
Mm.
you guys know Waluigi's my guy whenever I'm playing
Yes.
anything like this. The first costume I unlocked for him was his biker costume. I swear, if you put some kind of cowboy hat on him, he would look just like Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead,
Oh, really?
and that makes me love the guy even more. I'm never playing anybody but Waluigi again.
With the biker
we got to
costume.
throw up a side
Yes.
by side photo on YouTube here.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, and I notice, some people like Mario has a lot more costumes than I think, say, Shy Guy has only, like, 2 costumes or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad Shy Guy Hayden was because that's Hayden's favorite, Shy Guy. He was happy that Shy Guy had costumes. Daisy, who's usually my favorite. But as I said last week, I wish Cheap Cheap could wear a hat or something. I just want Cheap Cheap in a hat, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Who's
didn't
your
they have hats in Mario Odyssey? Couldn't you throw Cappy on them?
Yeah, exactly. Who's your go-to in Mario Kart World so far? Trev?
Um, I don't know if I have one. The first character I played as, believe it or not, was the snowman.
I like the
Um,
snowman. Yeah, I've used him a
Probably
few
just because
times.
it was so hot yesterday, and I was thinking cool. But
Yeah.
and after
Yeah.
that, I just tended to play whoever I unlocked.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mhm.
um, I think the last two were like Birdo and King Boo, maybe.
Oh,
But
cool. We
I don't know
we've
if I
not
have a
done
go to in this one yet. In past games, I have, but I
that.
need to
Mm.
play it more to. I guess it's really more about the carts too, even
Mhm.
because you can click what is it, like the minus button, and see a breakdown in the carts in terms of
Mm.
like handling and steering. And I guess maybe the lighter characters, because I feel like with the emphasis on like jumping and rails, maybe they'd be easier
Mhm.
than some of the heavy characters. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have a go to other than Daisy?
Well, I'm really liking Cheap Cheap at the moment. I just like Cheap Cheap. I don't know why. I love Cheap Cheap. That's my new favorite. So
I wish the Switch 2 would have been cheap, cheap.
yeah, I know. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, I love Cheap Cheap. I've used, yeah, Snowman, Goomba, Pokey, all the random NPCs, like I said last week. Yeah, I don't know why.
Ironically, I haven't done the cow yet, believe it or not.
Yeah, I did the cow. I thought I'd like the cow more. I think the cow's big. Like I'm like you. I prefer the smaller drivers for maneuverability and agility. So Cheap Cheap is a smaller one.
Yeah.
Same with
Or
Goomba.
even visibility. Sometimes the bigger ones, I feel like they take up too much screen real estate. Like I
Yeah,
almost
true.
wish the camera was maybe just a tad higher, but I'm nitpicking.
That's why we love you, Trev. So,
Oh,
but you have another game that you're playing, which is I think I spoiled it
I
earlier,
am.
actually.
Yeah, it's Sonic and Shadow Generations, or Sonic X Shadow, Sonic
Mhm.
Time Shadow. I just say Sonic and Shadow, or versus Shadow. I don't know. It's weird how even on the menu I can't totally tell because they're like separate things.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
um, I got to be honest. The real reason I got to switch to as early as I did was review games like this.
Mhm.
I felt guilty seeing review codes in the queue and just having you and Kirk, trying to tackle them all. So I'm like, I
We
got to take
appreciate
some.
that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I got to take some. And then, when Pete gets here, I'll give him some. But
Yeah.
um, Sonic Generations is an older game, but it's new to Nintendo, or mostly new. There was actually a spinoff on 3DS
Oh
Sonic
yeah.
Generations. It had the same name, but the gameplay was different. Although they do share some of the courses.
Hmm.
And long story short, for those who have never been familiar with it, it's basically a melding of classic Sonic and new Sonic, not just in the level designs, but even the characters. You kind
Mm.
of have your short, pudgy Sonic, and then you have your tall, kind of lankier Sonic. So you'll do like Green Hill Zone in your classic side-scrolling mode, and then you play as more updated Sonic, and it'll be more about like a roller coaster ride with crazy angles and a lot more like pits and drops. And um, I imagine this is the sort of game that will impress me even more when I have my dock hooked up.
Mm. Yeah.
But it's also fitting too because I think one of the first games I reviewed on Switch One was a Sonic game. So we've gone full
Mm.
circle, and here I am debuting with Switch Two with the Sonic game.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I will say one thing though, and it's a similar thing you called out for. I always called it Puyo Puyo, but I like the way you said it too. Um,
I
there's
was
no way
struggling.
to update. Yeah, if you have this on Switch, it's not like you can just pay 5-10 bucks and get the upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd have to get it brand new, and all you're getting is like a bump in resolution and stuff. It's even the DLC. I mean, there's a couple free skins, but the DLC is a separate purchase. If they would have included
Mm.
that, I'd be like, okay, I can see why the Switch 2 version's worth it. But if you already got this on Switch, I would have a. I can't imagine this would be worth it for you. But for me, the
Mm.
game's brand new, so that's how I'm viewing it. But I thought that was a good point you made in your review, and I'm gonna make a similar point when I get mine up.
Yeah, I honestly would have rated Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S higher if that had been the case. If you could just pay $5 or whatever, because I didn't realize when it was announced, I didn't realize it was a Switch game already from 2020, um, and you can't just upgrade it. So there's literally no reason to buy this game if you already own the Switch version. You just
Yeah,
you're not going to fork out another what is it $40. It's just not worth it.
especially
Yeah.
for like Tetris. I don't imagine that's a game that's driven by like frame rate. Like at least Sonic, maybe I could see because it's fast, but
Mm, mhm.
even then, I don't know if it's worth full price.
Yeah,
I my
yeah.
own opinion, obviously, so listeners can make their own judgment call if you're a big Sonic fan. And
Mhm.
certainly this is one of the better of like 3D style Sonics in recent years. But
Yeah, 'cause when did it come out on the Switch? Was it last year or the year before? I'm struggling to
I think it
um,
was
remember.
last year,
Yeah.
just
yeah,
October of last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's not an old game at all. I mean, I know it's a it's a revamped
yeah,
game,
it,
but
it's new for Nintendo.
yeah.
So
Mm, cool. Well, hopefully you're enjoying it, and yeah, that's how I saw Puyo Puyo as well. Like, it was new for me, so I really enjoyed it. But I did have to take that into account in my review. So,
mm.
yeah. Cool. And how does Shadow feature in this?
I don't know. I haven't gotten to that content yet.
Mhm.
Um, it looks to me, and I have to double check, but it looks like on the menu, like it's separate. Like you could jump into it right away.
Oh,
And there's
okay.
also some
Mhm.
Shadow DLC. But again, I wonder why they're even charging separate DLC. Why not just
Ah,
put it?
yeah.
Because this is another. I think this is a digital only too. So it's
Right.
not like the space on the cart's limited. So
Mm.
granted, I'm glad Sega's given us codes,
Yeah, they've been
but
very good because yeah, Yakuza, Sonic, and Puyo
yeah,
Puyo.
I
All
just
Sega.
wish they put a little more consideration into those who supported them on Switch One. Because why are they
Mm.
going to double dip
Mhm.
for a resolution boost
Yeah.
or more
I wonder
stable
how
frame rate?
long. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I wonder how long they like between the original release. If that release instead of being October of 24, if it had been January of 24 or October of 23, then maybe they feel like we do this as an upgrade instead. Like the releases were just so close together that they
Mm.
thought they could justify it.
Yeah, I did consider that also for Sonic, yeah.
Oh,
Puyo Puyo, no, though, because it's 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there goes that theory.
Yeah, but it
Trying to help you out, Sega. I failed.
but yeah, from Sonic's perspective, I can see that being rationale because it is less than a year, but still. Like, it's just like it's another version that got released because it was on all consoles, wasn't it, last year, I think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And so this is just another console version. So you either get the Switch version or you get the Switch 2 version, and they don't have an upgrade option. But I mean, Hogwarts Legacy is only 2 years old, and that had a really nice upgrade option. Sorry, I keep talking about that game. It's just a good example.
No, it
But
fits. It fits.
yeah.
Fantasy Life too. Fantasy
Yeah.
Life same way. It's only a couple
Yeah.
bucks.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really good. Like 275 or something, whatever it was.
Yeah, to get
Yeah.
the upgrade. I mean, no brainer.
Yeah, totally. I would definitely be doing that if and when I get it.
But I
Yes.
will say though, even games without upgrades, like I'll just be really quick because I've talked about it before, but I
Mm.
popped Xenoblade into Switch 2. I'm like, because I've been playing that. I'm
Mm.
like, I'm curious what this looks like. It doesn't have an upgrade pack or anything, but it was quick. I had a physical cart, and immediately they're like, "Oh, we detect you have save data on Switch. Would you like to use that?" I clicked yes, and right away I picked up where I left off. And
Nice.
I'm not really one to notice like frame rate, but the resolution's definitely noticeable. I liken it to like if you're somebody who uses reading glasses or something. It's like playing like the Switch is playing without reading glasses, and Switch 2 is like with reading glasses. It's definitely cleaner and sharper, and not to mention the screen's bigger, so the text is easier for me to read. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
true.
yeah, this is nice. So I'll be curious to grab some of my Switch 1 cards and just test them out and see like what type of boost they get, even out of the gate without anything extra.
Mm. Yeah, that's cool. Did you try that one, Kirk? Because you're a big Xenoblade fan.
I did briefly, and have the same experience that Trev did. I thought, especially since the Switch 2 now supports 4K HDR, and I have
Mm.
my Samsung QLED TV, the colors are just much richer. Everything's a little more vibrant.
Mhm.
Was the main thing I noticed. But yeah, also like a lot of the text is easier to read, a bit sharper. And again, not that there was any kind of update for the game. It's just it looks better on your television.
Yeah. So hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, they must have optimized it, pre-optimized it before they released it because it was coming out soon, soon before the Switch 2 release, I guess.
I don't know
I
though. It
bet.
might just be the Switch 2 power because like
Mm.
even I've heard Link's Awakening runs like really smooth, and that game came out like 5 years ago,
Yeah, true. Yeah, I have heard the
maybe
same.
even
Yeah.
6. I mean, we saw it at E3, and it came out not long after that, so that was 2019.
Yeah,
There you
it may
go.
have some built-in upscaling too that it's doing on the older
Mm.
games.
Mhm.
Like that. What was that hardware? Empower or something like that. I used to have a. We reviewed a little thing that you could plug in between the HDMI of the system and the TV to be able to
Oh yeah.
upgrade. So yeah, that's maybe in the system now already. I think I read that. Don't know.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I saw something on YouTube with a comparison between all of the existing Switch 1 games like Link's Awakening, Pokemon Violet, that sort of thing. And the frame rate, it was like monitoring the frame rates between them, and something like Pokemon, because it was, I didn't realize quite how bad it was, but it was like 20 to 30. It dropped a lot. And then on the Switch 2, it's like 60 constantly. And other games are the same, like Link's Awakening. And it was interesting because they mentioned Echoes of Wisdom, and it was like, I think we noticed when Zelda was in the overworld, every time she moved, it would just drop. The frame rate would just drop for some reason. That's just stable now. And I think Link's Awakening was the same. When she's standing still, like when Zelda's standing still, looks beautiful, resolution's all good. But as soon as she moves, it just
Yeah.
drops. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same engine, so I'm not
Hmm.
surprised they would have the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's cool. And I mean, while we're waiting for more games to come in, we're able to go to our old library
Mm.
and take advantage of that. I'll probably upgrade Tears of the Kingdom for 9.99 just to check that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah,
but
that's really good.
yeah,
Cool. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the show, unless you guys had other items to mention before we close things off.
I
And
do not.
no, Trev,
I
anything from
think
you?
I'm good.
Nice. Well, thank you both for joining me this week. Thank you, listeners. If you would like to follow us on social media, you can head on over to Blue Sky. We're over there with all our posts and linking to our website, purenintendo.com, for all our news and reviews. if you'd like to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/Pure Nintendo, and you'll get yourself a physical copy of our Pure Nintendo magazine, the next issue of which is being put together right now. So stay tuned for more information. But until next week, thank you and game on, everybody. Bye.
See ya.